Hello, my name is Jolie Mitchell and I am one of the founders of Truth for Youth, a blog run by the Banyule Youth Services that is written by young people for young people. March 8th is International Women's Day. It's a day that's been celebrated for over 30 years, and this year's theme is Planet 50-50 by 2030, Step It Up for Gender Equality. The day is a time to reflect on progress made, to call for action, and to celebrate the acts of determination and courage demonstrated by women from all around the world. We've decided to profile a range of women who are contributing greatly to the Banyule community. We ask these women what steps they've taken to get to where they are today, and what steps they think need to be taken to achieve gender equality.
Hi, Joel. In 1991, I was diagnosed with cancer for the first time. And from that time on, it just made me realise that every day is a bonus and you just make the most of every single day and try and be the best person you possibly can. And just to try and have a positive attitude every day. And then 9 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer again, and so I had to go through that whole process of working through it and still being positive, and here I am today to still be able to reach out and work in the community, and I just feel I'm just so blessed to be able to do it. I think just learning to accept each other as we are as people. There's still a long, long way to go in gender equality in the workforce. I certainly acknowledge that. So many females just don't get paid equally with the men, and they can be doing exactly the same job. A long, long way to go in that. Just the way women are treated in general, I think, the whole domestic violence. So I just think learning to be tolerant, respectful, and just treating each other as a really positive human being to get with each other.
Hi. Hello. How are you? I'm Oma. From the beginning, I have been a public person. I would like to be mixed with people and try to help others. So it was easy for me, and the support that I got from my husband and my kids had to be applauded at this stage, because they supported me with whatever I did. And it took me 32 years. We are married for more than 32 years. It took me 32 years to convert my husband totally to get involved in it. And this time he's doing it now. At this stage, the world needs lots of love. That's it. And anybody can show love to anyone. And that is what is needed. You don't need any extra qualifications to do any social work.
Certainly with my sporting involvement, I took the opportunity to get involved off the field and volunteer, and I think that was very important, right from when I was at high school. Throughout university, it gave me great exposure to different skills and experience, and also met fantastic people along the way that provided some mentoring and support to me, particularly when I was younger. So I think volunteering has really helped get me to where I am today, I think, both on a personal and professional level. I've been involved with the Plenty Valley Cricket Club for many, many years, as I said, as a player and as a volunteer administrator. And so I got some great experiences. I worked in the sport of cricket, and then when I stopped working in cricket, I then went and got other professional experiences, more recently in the community legal sector, and that's really helped me to, I guess, put myself forward as someone who could contribute to cricket at that governance level, and I was very fortunate that I was elected 5 years ago. I think for me there's a mixture of both cultural and structural change that still needs to happen. Structural, I'm a big believer in having quotas and targets. I think otherwise change in certain organisations, institutions takes a very, very long time. So for me it's about setting some targets, holding organisations and government to account, making sure that they report against them, but also the cultural change in terms of people's attitudes, and having a variety of programs to influence that, to really highlight the value of gender equality and having people from all walks of background and genders being involved at all levels, right through from the grassroots to the highest levels of government. And I think that involves strong leadership across all sectors: government, business, education and the community sector, so that value of gender diversity and gender equality is really highlighted.
Hey girls, how are ya?
How are you?
Good, nice to
We got invited to do the Banyule Youth Summit 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago, and we submitted a few proposals about things that were important to us, and to our surprise, to an extent, at the time, they really happened and our ideas came to life. So there was an International Women's Day forum last year and a Life Hacks book giving tips to kids about what to do in the real world once you leave school. I think the biggest thing to get to where we are today has been that we've learned to take risks. So when we first were invited to take action in the Banyule Youth Summit, we weren't really sure what it was, what it meant, if it would mean anything for us and what would happen. So we just had to take a step with that, and I think that's the same thing in a lot of things. We just learnt to take big steps and leaps if it's something that's important to us.
Yeah, and I think we've sort of had to deal a lot with having a more unpopular and unknown opinion. Like we had to sort of bring this idea to our school and to our peers and even to older generations like my parents, and have to discuss topics that were seen as sort of unpopular, and people didn't want to know what feminism meant. They didn't have a good opinion of it, and they didn't really understand the true definition. So I think it's really what Grace said. It's really about bravery and standing up, and also not just accepting the way things are. Like we got told that feminism's a bad word, and it's not really talked about at the school, and you don't really need to talk about it, like it's not that big of a deal. And we had to recognise that there was an issue even if we hadn't really faced it in our lives before, and then do steps for others or for our future before it became a problem.
I think the most important thing that we can do is just to overcome those roles that men and women are expected to fulfil. So breaking out of those boundaries and thinking about what we can do, because we're very much we're restricted to these very specific stereotypes about, what is a parent, what is a mother, what is a father, what is a student, what is it like to be a woman or a male, and we just have to realise that doesn't mean anything. It may have meant things in the past, but as we progress forward, we have to learn to abandon these things and create new definitions for all of these words. And I think that by doing that and addressing those issues of these restraints and these roles, we can become far more progressive in a lot of the other issues that face men and women today, whether it be domestic violence, sexual abuse, the gender pay gap, and so many others.
I think it's really important that if someone makes a sly comment, or if things that are a little bit less obvious, that we need to dig deeper for them and not just push them under the carpet and dismiss them, and actually stand up and fight it instead of just accepting it. The feminism, or the sexism, that we face isn't as obvious as maybe our parents or our grandparents has been. For us, it's about changing society's way of thinking, and that's really important.